Welcome to our last session, last but certainly not least, and this is our most international session as far as the speakers go. Let me introduce Sophia, who made the trip from Palo Alto. She is the Senior VP and Head of SAP Design Systems. And also with me is Stanislava, who came from Sophia for this conference. She's the Lead Product Manager for UI5 Controls and responsible for now the UI5 Web Components as well. And they will talk to you about designing and developing UX for a suite-first and AI-powered enterprise. Let's have a warm welcome, please.
All right, thank you so much. So we're going to start with a few questions. So how many of you have heard of the SAP Design System? Okay. How many of you have heard about Fiori? Everybody. We are going to talk today about SAP's strategy moving forward around both the design system as well as our suite-first approach. So if you don't already know, SAP earlier this year announced the SAP Business Suite. And it's really the direction that our products are working together more as one, and we're really moving forward kind of aggressively towards this business suite as a company. And because we have a business suite, we need a suite-first user experience. And so there's 5 different pillars of what a suite-first user experience would mean to us at SAP. But for the purpose of today's talk, and in light of kind of the overall topics today, we're going to be talking about consistent and inclusive UX. And as part of that, we'll be talking about the SAP Design System. So whether you have heard of or are just learning about the SAP Design System, we're going to give you an overview, as well as talk a little bit about consistency and how SAP views that and how our customers and partners can as well. And then do a dive through our technology counterparts to the design system as well. So let's go ahead and start. So at the heart of any design system out there is the design language. So every company has one, and essentially this is the most foundational elements of a company. It's things like what font a company uses, and the colors, and the icons, and the illustrations. And all these come together in a theme for the company. The current theme from SAP, I hope you all know, is known as Horizon. But the SAP Design System goes well beyond just the look and feel, that design language piece. The next thing that we work on designing is our different components that you all should be familiar with. The patterns, which really are, comprised components together. So things like uploading a PDF or searching for something is what we consider a pattern. And then finally, we have our floor plans. So all of these stacked together make up the SAP Design System. And as you know, these aren't just designed. They are delivered in code across Fiori elements and UI5 and SAP Web Components as well. Now, I promised you I'd explain the difference a little bit between the SAP Design System and Fiori. So you can see that design language that we have underpins everything that SAP does. Not only our products, which you might be more familiar with, but also our .com experiences with something that we call the digital design system, as well as all our marketing and communications. So the SAP Design System surrounds all of these things. It helps create a cohesive experience no matter what touch point you're going from, whether that's a commercial on TV, whether that's an event, a marketing landing page, or then into our products. And where you'll find Fiori is the piece where our products come into play. So this is why you may all be very familiar with Fiori as well, is because Fiori for web, Fiori for iOS, and Fiori for Android underpin really what the product area. And because we have these different platforms, like Fiori for web, iOS, and Android, we're able to deliver across a variety of different platforms, not just web and mobile. We have our new wearable guidelines, and our team works hard to make sure that we're accounting for emerging technologies as well, such as VR, Vision OS, CarPlay is things that we're constantly looking into as far as the overall design system. Now, earlier I talked about the latest visual theme from SAP being Horizon, and as you know, we use design tokens. Hopefully some of you attended that talk earlier today, to underpin our different themes. So we have 2 themes based on personalization, morning horizon and evening horizon, and then 2 that are optimized for inclusive use cases, which is the high contrast black and high contrast white. And then all of these are able to be delivered on every single component and pattern that we have in the system. Again, something you all are very familiar with, but that we're just not developing. It's something that we're putting a lot of work from the design and user experience side as well. Because we have our tokens, we can deliver then customizability through the different theme editors. And so that customers and partners, as you know, can change just a few elements and get something that feels like their look and feel or their own brand easily adopted into the design system. Now, I promised also to talk a little bit about how SAP approaches consistency. So this is a little bit of a look internal of how we look at it, but we have the big design system. And at SAP, we have one of the biggest design systems I've ever seen in my career. There's over 290 UI elements just in the web design system alone, and that doesn't account for kind of the whole ecosystem. So where do teams even start with consistency? We have to give them kind of a North Star to go after. And so we look at a subset of those elements as being the most critical to deliver customers' perceived consistency, right? So what are the things that we could do that would get the most bang for our buck when we think about how customers would perceive and users would perceive consistency? And we look at that through 3 different lenses. So first of all, we look at the frequency that the elements are used. So if something is used a ton, you could imagine a button. Something that's used all over the place has a high impact on consistency. The predominance of the element, so how visually impactful it is on the page, right, also leads to being more consistent perception. So something stands out more, people are gonna recognize that more, and that's gonna lead to overall visual consistency. And then the amount of interaction you're doing with it. So if it's something like the navigation, which you are constantly using, versus maybe a module that's embedded just into one workflow, obviously our more predominant elements and the amount of interaction you have with them are going to make a high impact on consistency. So at SAP, we are growing our perspective on that core base of things that we want to deliver that will help bring more consistency across SAP products and able to be leveraged into the ecosystem as well. And that UX consistency growth is happening at rapid pace because of that suite-first approach that we are driving internally, and now includes things like our shell bar and user settings, our menu, the buttons, notifications, and then as well as some of the underlying elements that are really part of that design language, making sure that we're delivering our illustrations that hopefully you all have seen that we recently released, as well as some of our shadows and metrics and spacing. This is in addition to some of the colors and the fonts and the foundational elements that we already have in the system. So that's great to hear that SAP is built with the SAP design system, but it also allows our customers and partners to obviously build on and customize our products in a consistent manner with what we deliver. Now, what resources do we provide to you? I'm sure you're all familiar with the development side of the resources, but we want to talk a little bit about some of the guidelines and the resources that are mixed between designers and developers as well. And if you have not seen, we have released an all-new SAP Design System portal. This is the replacement for the Fiori guidelines site that you may be familiar with, and is in partnership with some of our development sites as well. But to introduce the new portal, we have a little video to show you that goes over what you can find in there. So we have just released this live, but we are making continuous improvements on this as well. You'll find there's the ability to give us feedback. If you all are using this new resource, we would appreciate that. We have also recently released our UI kits for designers through Figma externally to our community. So it's not just about being able to develop quickly with SAP technology. You can now design much faster in ways that can then match your output. So we were very excited to have these available via Figma, the tool where designers are working. And these create really quick and easy ways to create mockups. And what I'm going to show next is just a small video. Now, I asked my team to create this video, and it is sped up, but it's not sped up that much. This is about 15 minutes of design work, and you can see how those UI kits don't just pull in, static elements. They're completely flexible, and they allow designers incredibly fast ways to be able to rename and really get all the elements that you need to kind of rapid speed design through the different needs that you might have. And you can see that here, these are available both for floor plans. They're also available for just the freestyle elements as well. And then you have kind of the rapid design piece for the rapid development piece that the technology provides. And then I know there's been several talks on accessibility today, but this isn't something that you just find in our development community. We are passionate across the board about accessibility at SAP. First of all, we offer accessibility design tools, so specifically for designers as they're passing files to our development community, making sure that they're putting best practices in place. We also have the Inclusive Research Handbook, which I think is a really thought-provoking kind of piece that SAP has put out. What that is that when you do user research, really how to do that in an inclusive and accessible way. And that resource is actually put out and used across the design community. So not just with SAP, but really a lot of other companies have picked this up and used it as their best practices as well for doing research in an accessible way. But I have talked a lot about the design side, and as you know, there's a technology piece to this, and for that, I will pass it over to Stani.
Thank you. Thanks, Sophia. Now, let's explore what happens when great UX meets technology. It's an epic thing, so to say. It's not an easy one, but what I have to say is that we are working in close partnership with SAP Design System, the UI technology unit, so we can move the needle, we can move forward with all the concepts that we have up there, and we can assure consistency across SAP product portfolio, but not only, right? Because we have many partners, many customers who are extending us, they are creating applications, so let's explore first which UI technologies are supported with SAP Design System. We have two dimensions here. Build something freestyle. How many of you are building freestyle UI5 and UI technology applications? Awesome, okay. And then build with floor plans. What about Fiori elements? Okay, wow, okay. I have an experienced crowd here. Now, those two dimensions are existing. I just want to mark them. We had enough sessions about freestyle, Fiori elements, how the Fiori elements evolve, etc. But if we drill down a bit, what's the beauty of freestyle? First of all, you can choose your platform, your framework. It could be SAP UI5, it could be HTML, plain HTML, Angular, React, and many, many more. And you have the full freedom and flexibility to work with both, right? And of course, you can use the full-fledged functionality of SAP UI5. Again, I will not go into much details. The whole conference is about UI technologies and UI5. But the beauty of it is that you have control. And if we drill down a bit in the Fiori elements, world. I saw Katya is here. Yeah, I need to mention that this is also a very powerful concept here that you can use if you want to stick to certain floor plans and predefined patterns and you want to map them with predefined data. It comes out of the box, it's cheap, and as you saw in the keynote, in the sessions, it evolves into the direction of building blocks, etc. So you can use this SAP Fiori Elements functionality as well. Now, the beauty of it is that both of them work together. You don't need to choose either or, right? You can use the one for your purpose, you can use the next one for other purpose, and you can mix them both with the power of SAP UI framework. Now, just to zoom out a bit and talking about consistency, I would like to have a look jointly together with you at the SAP strategy, because it tells a lot what are we doing within the design unit and UI technologies, what's the purpose that we want to serve. First of all, we have the business technology platform that is the foundation of our strategy. It has a number of different products and huge product portfolio that serves this business technology that comes on top of the business technology platform, being financial management, being spend management, supply chain, human capital, etc., etc. On top of it, we can see the industry-specific stuff that many customers and partners are doing as well, and they are contributing here. And not to forget the overarching point and the overarching thing of AI functionality. We talk about Joule, we talk about AI agents, and we talk a lot about AI in the company, and not only talking, we implement stuff. Now, if you look at this strategy, it's being backed up with UI technologies so we can assure consistency. You can imagine the number of products and applications that we need to keep jointly consistent. And on top of it, we have the AI, we have the customer and partners application. So this is the main goal of consistency. It's being backed up with SAP design system, with different technology guidelines, with different dimensions of how we can regulate a bit so we can achieve success in that. We have golden path, North Star architecture, etc., etc., and many, many enterprise qualities. So stepping on top of this strategy, we crafted our own product strategy. We ask ourselves a question: how can we be more efficient? How can we serve the whole broad portfolio of solutions that we have and we have on partner and customer side? And we thought, let's look at the frameworks out there and the programming model. We have SAP UI5, obviously. We have Fiori Elements, but we have many, many more. Some might choose Angular, some might choose React, some might choose HTML. And what we have in terms of UI elements, well, we have different UI elements for each and every framework out there, right? Including the UI5 controls that we have for UI5. So what we did, we sit together and we thought, can we extract, and this is the story how the web components are being born, can we extract our collected wisdom and knowledge that we have on our side, building enterprise-ready elements, UI elements, into a single piece of something that can be plugged everywhere. And this is how the web components were born, in a way. They initially worked with every HTML aspect, every framework of choice, but there is a but. Angular might have some specific Angular elements for them. React might have something specific for React, and this is why we created the wrappers for Angular and React. And this is how we have UI5 Web Components, the web components that we provide available for both frameworks. And you saw on the keynote, I don't need to repeat what Peter Music said, but the latest development that we had is called UI5 integration, and it means that we can implement and we can use directly UI5 Web Components, the SAP Web Components, into UI5 framework via integration. Now, how does it look like? You saw them on the keynote. I will be very short, but we use tooling. It wraps up any web component, and you can use it directly into UI5 with native UI5 experience. Why this is important? Because we, as product management of UI5 unit and as UI5 unit as a whole, have the strategy that we evolve our UI elements as web components only. So anything new that it will come to us from Sophia's unit as a new concept, maybe something that we want to align, something that we want to synchronize, will be available as web component only for your usage, and you will be able to wrap it in your UI5 application very easily as native experience. How do you do this? You use the web components in SAP UI5 via the tooling wraps it, and then you continue with your native experience. By the way, this code describes the documentation that we provided. You can find it in Web Components Playground in UI5, and you can see how it works. Now, to illustrate that, I will play a short video in which you can see that in the simple UI5 to-do application, we will use the tooling to wrap the rich text editor from UI5 Web Components and import it in our UI5 view. You can see the tag in the view above the application. I'm not so fast in talking while the video is running, but then what's being rendered here is the UI5 Web Components rich text editor, SAP Web Components rich text editor, native experience as part of the UI5 application. I strongly advise you to check the documentation, play around, and give us feedback, because this is quite essential and important for us to continue with this story. Now, how products benefit from that? Obviously, all of us should benefit. First of all, we achieve the important topic of consistency. You saw the strategy, you saw the SAP portfolio. It's extremely important to achieve consistency on our side and on our partners and customer side. We get the latest and greatest consistent design, the way how SAP design is crafting them. You get the experience with web components. Then you have one UI technology for all, UI elements that you can use in any framework of choice. You get the enterprise standards. Everything comes out of the box with being security, accessibility, and any internationalization, etc. And we have single reference implementation that can be reused in this way. In terms of UI components, that could be the SAP Web Components. Of course, we get efficiency out of the box because we code once, we run everywhere, and you take it and you run it in your UI5 application. And then we get the compliance with enterprise, with web standards, sorry. Such an example is the popover API that we introduce in Web Components. It's something that it's in the web world, and it works very, very smooth. Now, I just want to emphasize again the qualities of our components and patterns. Not to forget that all of them are teamable, they are adaptive, they can adapt. We have globalization, they can run against any language of choice. They are consistent, so we can extend them, they are accessible, etc. So all the qualities are in place for you to use them and to build your enterprise applications. Now, maybe you ask yourself, okay, so far so good. I have a design system, it's beautiful, I have teaming, I have everything, how to put it in action. How can I build a consistent application? And I prepared several tips for you. First of all, accessibility. Please use the latest version of SAP UI5. It's actually 1.136, and one of the latest version of UI5 Web Components, which enables WCAG 2.2 and ARIA 1.2 for you, so you can get it out of the box. But please, please keep in mind that every application, in order to be accessible, needs to go and follow the accessibility best practices. You will find them in our documentation, demo kit, just follow them, and you will be good in terms of consistency. Then teaming. Our strong recommendation is when you build something, when you build your applications, just use the latest theme available. At the moment it's Horizon, but who knows, in a couple of months or 6 months, it should be the next one. I want to encourage you to migrate to the new latest theme. And please check your custom CSS, because I'm pretty sure some of you are CSS gurus, you're customizing stuff and you want it to look a bit different. Please check it and align it with, with the consistency standards. Then UI elements, we have provided several valuable UI elements that you can use here. I will show them a bit later on. And illustrations. We have brand new set of illustrations designed by Sophia and team in cooperation with SAP Brand. I just want to emphasize this because it works for branding, it works for technology and business applications. Please use them via the illustrated message controller components. And mind the gap. Update to the latest technology version. Don't keep it away. I mean, that's extremely important. Now, they're telling me that I have 5 more minutes. I want to be absolutely very quick with that because I want to jump on the AI topic as well. I just want to show you that in the UI5 Web Components playground, you can find this UX integration sample in which you are able to wait a second, to expand a bit. You're able to access to a sample that is building an application-wise logic which is compliant to consistency. Here you have the site navigation, which is facelift. Here is the new shell bar that you can use for your navigation. We have the user menu as a new delivery. We have a nice set facelifted notifications. And guess what happens when I clear them all? We get an example of the new illustrations that are in stock for us. So please jump in and use this example to be consistent with your applications. Now, as we are talking about AI first and suite first, let's see what do we build for AI. First of all, the whole SAP strategy steps on 2 pillars, AI first and suite first. And every one of us is asking the question, okay, why 2? Why not 1? Okay, right? Now, I will show you how they become 1. This is how they overlap because we want every AI experience that we are providing on our site to be consistent. And this is why we have huge overlap between AI first and suite first, and here stays the AI UX strategy. What stays behind the AI UX strategy? I will just emphasize the 2 main steps. Maybe there will be more in future. We divided it into conversational AI. It's everything that happens in Joule. And embedded AI, which is the most important thing in terms of consistency. If I want to create an AI scenario in my enterprise application, I should go for embedded AI UI technology components and patterns that we provide so I am consistent, right? So with no further ado, I just want to play quickly a new video. In terms of conversational AI, this is something very, very nice that we are providing. You can migrate your application to TypeScript with the help of Joule in Business Application Studio. I personally love it. This is something that we have in stock, as I said. And then I just briefly want to show you the AI components and patterns that we already implemented as an experimental version for your feedback. Again, in UI5 Web Components Playground, you can see this section AI, in which you can find the AI button, the prompt input, some enums, interfaces, something that's in stock for you to use it and achieve your embedded AI experience. And we back it up with a number of patterns that we've created. I just want to quickly show you the quick prompt pattern that allows you to generate some texts with the help of the AI button. I generate, I stop generating, I have predefined functionality like rephrase. I can even translate it into German, for example. And I can create in my application a lot of logic and behavior that is consistent with all the AI experience, embedded AI experience that we do have in our company. So please feel free to use them and give us feedback and just explore what we have here for you. With that, I hope you're already awakened in the late afternoon. I just want to emphasize the SAP design system and UI technologies are going hand in hand to enhance the experience of the enterprise. And with that, I just want to hand over. Sorry, I'm not on the slides. I just want to hand over to Sophia to wrap up.
Some key takeaways. So first of all, get started with the new SAP Design System portal. It's your place to find the one-stop shop for everything SAP Design System. Use SAP's out-of-the-box technologies, and then check out that latest on AI that we're doing. With that, we're going to open it for a few questions. Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, you two. Do we have any questions in the audience? Oh yeah, right here.
Thank you. Just relating to the last examples of the AI components you showed and how to make sure we have the consistent experience there, like the embedded AI and Joule. I'm interested to know your guidance on the use cases for explicitly using those, say, separate AI components. If I understood correctly, there'll be components in, say, UI5, etc., compared to the scenario where, because Joule is now embedded everywhere in all of SAP's products, some guidance I've seen also is SAP is providing the capability for us to design or build Joule skills. So basically, we just use Joule, the existing embedded Joule, and provide the skills. So the user experience, the AI user experience is already there. We're using Joule and expanding its skills to customize it. So I'm just curious, what's the use case for the components that are separate to Joule but look like Joule as you've demonstrated here, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I can. Oh, no, you go. I'll back up.
Okay, thanks. Okay, if I can oversimplify it, whenever you cannot do with Joule, you need to go into your application and maybe plug this additional generate button to assist you. We have a very nice example in our SuccessFactors applications. They are supporting goal settings with such componentry, right? You need to plug this AI button on top of your goals and it generates for you. And now you can. Yeah.
I believe passionately that a chat-based interface is not going to be the only way that people interact with experience moving forward. And I think that people want both, right? We as humans have different ways of learning, different ways of input, and interface is there for a reason. We've already been at a chat-based interface that was terminal. The reason we created interface is because it's quicker. It's easier to digest information. It's easier to make choices, right? Do you want to chat and choose between 4 different choices, or do you want a checkbox, right? It's quicker inherently than copying and pasting and re-chatting. And there's times that you do want to prompt the system with more thought-provoking questions, or if you have a specific task in mind. So we feel like users are still working between both, and we want to meet them with AI wherever they are in their applications. And so in the world where we still live with many things, we want to make sure that there's AI, whether they want to just ask a question, they know where they're going, or if they're in a workflow, being able to assist that workflow with AI as well. Mm-hmm.
All right. I think the man in the last row was first.
Short question. You showed at the last the new UI elements regarding the AI button and so on, but they were only showed as web components. Will they also be available as normal UI5 controls, or?
They are already available as normal UI5 control via UI5 integration. This is our strategy. So we enable anything new as web components, and we allow you to use them back into UI5. No need to code them twice.
With which version of UI5? Do you know?
I need to double check the version. 1.36. It's a bit earlier, but yeah, at least 1.36, let's say.
Okay, there was one more coming.
Yep.
Hello, I have a question about the SAP strategy. So In the past, we had a tool called SAP Build Me. Now we have Figma with this kit. And the question is it a like final solution, or SAP is going to have something own, let's say? Because I'm asking because our UX designers are already using the design system, and there are some differences between, for example, what is available in Figma and what is available in UI5 kit. For example, in the, I don't know, in the panel, we can have multiple controls there, but in Figma there is a text, right? And there are some differences and misunderstanding between developers and UX designs.
Yeah. So what is harmonized is what we call internally the reference implementation, meaning that UI5 is an incredibly robust system. It carries with it 13 years now of both componentry, but also feature availability. And so the ecosystem of all the customizability that's been built into UI5 isn't necessarily what we look at as common use cases. So what we've tried to harmonize between UI5 and the WebKit is what we consider the common scope for each of the elements. What we're doing is trying to make that common scope more detectable between UI5 and Web Components and the kit, and trying to work internally towards exposing that more externally as well, so that you can understand, hey, the reason it's missing is because this thing we don't consider like the kind of core of the system that we deliver together.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right.
All right. If there is.
Hi, while we are at the strategy, also a question maybe for future development. Is there any idea if you're going to connect the design and Joule so that you design your web pages and templates and Joule is then generating in the background code that you already can see run your app with?
There are some
Yeah.
explorations
Yeah,
in the field.
Yeah.
We cannot say anything carved in stone, but we would love to explore this topic, and we are already doing that.
Yeah.
All right.
With the recent advancement in the field of AI, and can't we directly integrate the app that auto-gen? Okay. Yeah. With the latest advancement in the AI field, and we say that Joule is a wise example of how we are interacting with the whole Joule, and it helps us in not only in the development, but also to help the business users. But it's all prompt, it's all prompt based, where somebody has to put something and then it acts on. Why can't we directly, let's say, integrate or generate a generic app with the use of floor plan or something like that, that understands the data and it auto-generate the app?
Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we're working heavily
First
on
of
this.
all,
Yeah.
I just want to make a glimpse on the AI UX strategy dimension, if you allow me.
Yeah.
We want to migrate from Ask Joule to Task Joule. Joule to become smarter and smarter and to predict what this user behind is willing to have. So this is, again, something ongoing. You know that AI is evolving extremely fast, but this is one of the directions. And then I think we saw today AI generation of floor plans in terms of Fiori elements. It was in the keynote, so there are explorations in that field as well. Yeah.
It's all an action. Somebody has to put in an action. Maybe, I think if we can build something that can auto decide, what needs to be done for that app, rather than somebody is putting into the system and say that do this.
Yeah. So I think we're looking both at agents and the ecosystem of agents to be able to auto-task things and to run processes for you, to kind of get ahead of that. We're also looking into what AI-composed UIs look like based on kind of problem solving. So like I said, there's a place for UI, and right now that textual back and forth is fairly limiting from a a holistic perspective, especially with task completion and things like that. So what would it look like when you wake up in the morning and you would have your overview of something that you would want to see, but then AI has actually generated different data and insights and potentially already have tasks and workflows available to you that's been generated UI through the base of AI is something that we're also heavily exploring right now. Yeah.
Short answer, yes.
Yeah.
We'll look into that.
Okay. All right. Looks like we are out of questions so far. Thanks again. You were perfectly on time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks for staying.
Yeah.